So I already asked you how many of you have ever had a communication breakdown with another live human being on this planet, and everybody raised their hand. And so what we're going to talk about comes from Dr. Tony Alessandra's book. It's called The Platinum Rule. Treat other people the way they want to be treated. See, if you treat other people with the golden rule, treat other people the way I want to be treated, I'm a straightforward, talk fast, get it done, results-oriented, bottom line, cut to the chase person. And if I treat you the way I want to be treated, and you're a more calm, laid-back, people-oriented, huggy-feely, touchy kind of person who talks like this and moves like this, and I treat you the way I want to be treated, do you think we might have a problem? Absolutely. By the way, my questions are never rhetorical. They require a head nod, an amen. This is a great place. An amen, Brad. Something like that. Some response is required from you as an audience participant. It just keeps things more fun. It keeps things moving. So I'm going to talk about Dr. Tony Alessandra's People Smart system. You can get his book, by the way. It's called The Platinum Rule. And it has a quiz in it. You take the quiz, and it actually helps you figure out what your style is. And then he gives you lots of suggestions as to how you can adapt and adjust and flex your style to match other people's so that you have more rapport, more harmony, get along better, especially in something like a job interview. Is it not important in a job interview to establish rapport with the interviewer? Yes, absolutely. Because what do they say? It's not what you know, it's who you know and how you get along with them. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. All right, now keep in mind, you already know this system. It actually is sort of commonsensical. You kind of already know it. I'm just going to give you a way to remember it that's very simple and easy. By the way, there are lots of 4-quadrant systems, yes? Myers-Briggs isn't really 4 quadrants, but the DISC personality profile, Hippocrates, a few 100,000 years ago, had a system with 4 quadrants. Roger Dawson in The Secrets of Power Negotiating, he has the 4 styles of the 4 kinds of negotiators. It's the same 4 quadrants. Okay, Tony's material, Dr. Tony Alessandra's material, is user-friendly. That's why I like the system. A couple of things to keep in mind. You have all 4 styles, but one is most likely your predominant style, and then you have a second that's kind of a backup or secondary style, and then the other 2 are usually a distant 3rd and 4th place. The other thing to keep in mind is that your style might change depending on the circumstances. Some people have a different style at home in their personal life than they do at work in their professional life. Today I want you to think about yourself at work. Let's just keep it focused on work. If you can take this home and use it at home, great. But I prefer that you think about yourself as you show up at work, sort of with your work persona on. So keep that in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is it's not about good or bad, right or wrong, just different. Nobody's style is better or worse than anybody else's style. They're just different, and if you can keep that in mind, it really helps. The last thing to keep in mind is that this is based on observation. You do not have to be a psychologist and get inside somebody's head to figure out this system. You just look and listen. People will give you plenty of cues in their body language, in the rate of speech and how fast they talk, in certain words that they might use, and other clues that you'll pick up visually, vocally, and verbally. So basically, you've got a chart there, and what does it say at the top? Open, people, and relationship-oriented, and at the bottom, guarded, task-oriented, and self-contained. And on the right side, it's direct, fast-paced, in-your-face, less cautious, more assertive. And on the left-hand side, it's indirect. I don't like the word slow, so we're going to use the word deliberate pace, a more deliberate pace. And indirect and more cautious. That's all you got to remember, those 4 things. But we're gonna play with it a little bit. So you tell me, I want the audience to participate here. If you are at work and you were just observing somebody. You were standing at the door and you were watching a meeting, or you were watching some people talking in the hall, and they were acting very open and very people-oriented and very relationship-oriented. And here's where you get your pens ready, because you're going to start writing down whatever people throw out. How would they be behaving? What would it look like and sound like? Just shout out some, raise your hand, I'll point, shout out some answers. Yeah? They'd be talking the loudest and the most. Correct. What else? Very friendly, warm, very open. Yeah? Smiling. What else? Energetic. You get the picture? Pretty easy to understand, yes? I don't know, I'm not even teaching you anything you don't already know. They're open, they're relationship-oriented, they're people-oriented. Let me give you some more out of Tony's workbook, some more things that he talks about. They're self-disclosing. They just talk about themselves whether you ask or not. They show and share their feelings very freely. In fact, they make their decisions based on their feelings. Very subjective in decision-making. Yes, how do you like this car? Ooh, I really like it. How much does it cost? I don't know. Well, what's the down payment? I don't care. I just like it. It feels like the right kind of car. You know some people like that? Yeah. They might buy stocks that way, or houses, or investments based on feelings, based on their gut. Maybe they don't always make the best decisions. Their conversation includes digressions. They stray off the subject. They're relaxed and warm. They go with the flow. They are opinion and feeling oriented. Very easy to get to know them in social situations or unfamiliar situations, business situations. They will come right up to you and shake your hand and introduce themselves. Versus the task-oriented person we'll talk about in a second doesn't do that. They are flexible about how their time is used by others. Here's an open person at their desk doing work, if they're ever doing work, because a lot of times they're not. They're so into people that they're busy at the water cooler talking to people. But they're working at their desk, and you walk in, what do they immediately do? They stop. Joe, how you doing? Great to see you. Give me a big hug. Oh, you're not a huggy guy. Okay, fine. Hey, what's going on with the family? How are things? Talk to me. Oh, the report? Don't worry about that. I'll get to that later. There's always time for that. But you, okay, does this not happen? You've seen people like this, yes? How many, by the way, how many of you here in the audience are either starting to see yourself in this description, or a coworker, or a boss, or an interviewer? If they're like that and you're like this, you got a problem in the interview. They're going to say things like, "Ooh, he was cold, and he just focused on the task, and why didn't he open up and share some more about himself?" So you got to be able to identify this very quickly. They prefer to work with others. Open people are more team-oriented. They like to be on teams. They like to work in groups. They initiate and accept physical contact, as somebody said earlier. They share or enjoy listening to personal feelings. Animated facial expression. The young lady there said animated. Very animated facial expression, lots of gestures. A friendly handshake. More likely to give nonverbal feedback. Oh my God. They can have a whole conversation without saying a word. Right? And a lot of gesticulating, a lot of emotions like that. And they are responsive to dreams, visions, and concepts. Great people for the overview, the larger picture, taking a look at things and stepping back and seeing the whole picture. Okay, pretty clear?